So, I've been using the system now for about a week, and now that the initial excitement of having Android Auto and Apple CarPlay installed into my Range Rover has worn off, I thought I'd give you guys as fair and impartial review of this whole system as I possibly can. As I mentioned before, this system was given to me free of cost by Unique Auto Developments. That was because I contacted them, wanting to review it, wanting to share it with you guys. But they're not paying me anything to do this review, so hopefully this is going to be an impartial review as you can get of one of these systems. So here we go. So as I said, I've been using this system for a week now, and during that first week a few things came to light that I think I want to share with you guys. One of the first things I noticed actually on the first day that I installed the system was that the steering wheel controls for skipping songs only work about half the time when I'm using my Android phone on the system here. Some of the time you'll jump into the car, connect your phone using the USB or to the wireless Bluetooth and Wi-Fi system, and the controls will work fine all day long. Other times, however, you'll connect your phone and you won't be able to use these controls at all, and you have to use the touchscreen controls to change songs, which isn't really the end of the world. It's kind of a first world problem really, but it would be nice to have that working all of the time. Secondly, I noticed that the Android Auto wireless connection to your phone is a little bit flaky sometimes. So sometimes it will connect and work fine for hours on end, but other times it would disconnect from the phone and then be very difficult to try and get it to reconnect again. The only way I've actually managed to get it to reconnect after it's disconnected once is by completely restarting the whole system from the menu in here, which isn't ideal. It's a bit of an annoyance, to be honest. So I got in contact with Unique Auto Developments about these problems, and they responded really quick, which was good. But their response was basically that my brand of phone, which is a Xiaomi, is one of the brands that doesn't really work particularly nicely with Android Auto on wireless mode. Now there are a couple of brands that they mentioned which are known not to work that nicely with wireless Google products like Android Auto, Xiaomi and Huawei being the two that they mentioned to me. So just bear that in mind if you have one of those makes of phones, that the wireless part of the system might not work as seamlessly as you might hope. Apparently this isn't an issue that is unique to this system, this Unique Auto Development system. It's just a thing with Android Auto in general. You'll probably have better luck with it if you've got a Samsung or a more mainstream brand of phone than this. Happily though, the USB connection to the system works perfectly, and that's what I've been using all week. To be honest, it's probably what I would choose to use anyway. It charges the phone as you go at the same time, and it just gives a much snappier and quicker response on the screen as well, because you've obviously got that faster connection to the phone. So that would be my advice anyway. The wireless would be nice to have, but it's not really a deal breaker for me. Now, up until installing this system, I'd been using this Invery Bluetooth adapter which plugs into the iPod socket in the center console here. This works really well. It's served me well for about over a year now, and I have to say the sound quality on this device is superb. It's fantastic. I honestly can't tell the difference between songs that come from this and from the built-in CD changer or any of the other sources on the Range Rover. This uses aptX HD as a codec, which is known for giving really good audio quality over Bluetooth, so it's probably why. And it goes straight into this iPod socket here, which is probably quite good for quality. Unfortunately, the audio quality on the Android Auto system here is not as good. You can definitely tell a difference between the two when you switch between the same song on both systems. Now, I don't claim to be an audiophile or anything like that, but I am someone who definitely appreciates a good audio system. At home I use a nice set of Sennheiser headphones for listening to music and editing video and stuff like that. I'm not a musician, I'm a drummer, but I would say I have a fairly good ear for sound quality and music and stuff like that. And while I wouldn't say this Range Rover has a brilliant audio system as standard, it's just a standard Harman Kardon Logic 7 system here, it's not the HD one, it is pretty good. It's not the best, but it's a pretty good system as far as they go, especially for a 10-year-old car. But the Android Auto system definitely doesn't make the best of this Range Rover audio system. It sounds a little bit washed out, a little bit crackly at higher volumes, and it really lacks punch low down compared to the Invery or the playing a CD from the CD changer there. Now, I got in contact with UAD again and mentioned this to them, and again they got back to me nice and quickly, and they had a couple of suggestions to make. Now, the first one was that I go into the settings here on the actual system, head into the volume menu, and then reduce this master volume down from 40 to 30. So set at 40 by default, which is the maximum, and they said to reduce it down to 30. That has the effect of lowering the overall volume of the system, so you've got to turn it up more on the car system, but it does seem to have improved the audio quality. It doesn't crackle anymore when I turn it up high, and it seems a little bit clearer and a little bit crisper. It's still lacking punch, and it still doesn't sound quite as good as the other sources on the Range Rover, but it's definitely an improvement. between that adjustment and making a few changes in here in the equalizer within the Android Auto unit itself, I've managed to get it sounding almost as good as I would like it. It's still not quite there, but it's definitely improved from where it was. I have had to turn up the bass both in the EQ in here and also in the Land Rover menu here as well, on the Logic 7 system here. I've turned the bass up quite a bit there just to give it a bit more punch down low end. Now again, apparently this is not an issue that is unique to this particular system, this unique auto development system. It is apparently something that afflicts all Android Auto systems. If you search around on the internet, you'll see loads of people complaining about poor audio quality on Android Auto systems, even on cars that are just brand new coming out of the factory with it built in, from new. However, from what I've been told, a lot of these problems I've been describing don't affect the Apple CarPlay side of the system as badly as the Android Auto side of the system. And this is true for all of these kind of devices. Now, back in the day, I was also an iPhone driver at one point, so I've managed to dig out my old iPhone 6S here from about the year 2016, updated it to the latest iOS, and we're going to give it a go on the CarPlay side of this system because it's capable of both, and we're going to give that a try out and see if it's any different or any better. So it'll be interesting to see. Let's give it a go. So I have here in front of me the guide for connecting your phone to the system, which is provided to me by Unique Auto Developments. They send this out with all their kits. So we're going to follow it step by step to make sure I do everything as it should be. So even for a wireless connection with your phone, you do have to plug it in with a USB first, just to get it set up. I'm just going to start my screen recorder on the iPhone here. Okay, so we're going to plug in. Okay, and we're going to press allow on that, and we're going to say enable wireless CarPlay. After 5 seconds have passed, disconnect your iPhone from the lightning cable, then wait up to 30 seconds. CarPlay should now load wirelessly. So that took a couple of minutes, as the guide said, but my iPhone is actually now connected wirelessly to the system, so we can put that out of the way and have a play with it. Now obviously the interface is different on this than it is on Google Android Auto, but it's basically the same thing. So let's have a look around. So there's our main menu. We've got 79 messages on my old phone here. I should probably have a look and see what those are. Interesting, there's a Land Rover button here as well. Not sure what that's going to be. I'll have a look in a minute perhaps. But we can go into Google, we can go into Maps. Now my old phone doesn't have a SIM card or any data or anything like that on it at the moment because it's not been in use for many years, but you can see that app did load up alright. We can head into music. I can play a couple of songs hopefully that I've got in here, and I obviously have to bleep this out because it's copyright music. Okay, so playing wirelessly there over the Apple CarPlay definitely sounded actually better than Android Auto, almost to the point where it's actually almost convincing me to get an iPhone for my next phone. I still wouldn't say it's quite on par with the Invery for Bluetooth music, but definitely better, so that's definitely interesting to know. Must be something to do with the way the sound is processed on the CarPlay side of the system versus the Android Auto. Also, so far the phone connected and it hasn't shown any signs of dropping out yet either, so perhaps the wireless connection is also a bit more stable. Bearing in mind this is a really old phone as well. What I'm interested to find out though is what this Land Rover button does. Okay. The Land Rover button basically exits you out of the CarPlay, takes you back to the main menu of the unit here. So yeah, I mean, it does seem to work really nicely on wireless here. It's quite quick. It's quite quick and nice to use, and I actually prefer the interface of the Apple CarPlay versus the Android Auto. Another thing I've just noticed is that the steering wheel controls are working first time on this as well. So obviously I'd have to use this for a few more days to make sure it continues to work like that. But as far as first impressions go, it seems like this experience, the wireless iPhone iOS with CarPlay, is a lot more polished of an experience than the wireless Android Auto. And again, I don't think that's particularly a fault of this unit. I think in general with Android Auto, probably made worse by the fact that I've got a cheap Chinese phone here.
Earlier in the week, I did actually borrow a friend and his brand new Google Pixel 6 Pro to try out the Android Auto system in the Range Rover. Now the Google Pixel 6 Pro is obviously a Google approved handset, and perhaps unsurprisingly it connected wirelessly to the UAD system and it worked almost flawlessly. There were no connectivity issues that we could find, and even the audio quality was markedly improved over using my own Xiaomi Mi 11. However, the steering wheel skip buttons still weren't working unfortunately. I did contact UAD again about this, and you can read their response here by pausing the video. So at least they're aware of the problem and have committed to patch it in the near future via a software update. I'll make sure to follow up on this if and when it happens, and I'll report back.
As I said before, I'm pretty happy with the experience on my Chinese Xiaomi here by plugging it in with USB. Haven't really got much of an issue with that anymore. The sound quality's been improved a bit. And UAD did actually mention to me about the steering controls for the Android, and they said that it's something that might be fixed in a future software update. So potentially that might get solved. So yeah, hopefully that's given you guys a bit of an unbiased overview of what it's like to use this system day to day. Now it is a lot of money. It's 579 quid for this system, and I think on the whole I'm happy to recommend this system. It is a big chunk of change. Even installing it itself, it's fairly expensive, but if you're one of those people that use your car every day, I think it could be worthwhile. Having all the Google Maps and all your music right there on the screen in front of you is pretty priceless, to be fair, in a car that you're driving every day. There are other options around where you can get second screens that will sit on top of the dash that will give you the same CarPlay and Android Auto functionality. But for me, integrating it into the main screen is the only way to go, really. I love the fact this is a completely transparent installation, that if you didn't know, you'd just assume this was part of the car's original equipment, which is really good.
And just a few more points that I know you guys will ask about. Firstly, it does work with the Trick dual view screen in the L322, so you could theoretically have Google Maps on display for the driver while the passenger watches Game of Thrones on the TV. And secondly, there is integration for Google Assistant and Siri, who can do a few functions like setting navigational destinations and changing music and things like that. And finally, UAD do make kits to suit Discovery 4, L320 Sport and a few other models that you'll find listed on their website, so go and check it out.
The installation itself, not too bad on the whole. The actual strip down of the dashboard, as I said, was the easy part of the job. Taking the head unit apart to fit the new FPC board and that cable was probably the most hairy part of the job. But luckily there are lots of installers around the UK and probably in Europe as well that will be able to do this for you. As I said, obviously you'll pay more for that as well, but potentially it's worth it if you're not very confident with electronics. But yeah, basically, despite those little niggles, I'm over the moon with it. I'm going to be using it every day in the Range Rover whenever I drive it. So if anything does transpire in the next few weeks and months, you guys will know about it, but I'm sure it's all going to be good. My experience with UAD has been really good so far. They've answered all my questions nice and quick. They've got good technical advice on hand as well if you need it. When you're installing the system, they've got technicians that can give you a guiding hand if you get stuck, which is always really good as well. And yeah, basically, I think a really nice upgrade for the L322. Brings the infotainment right into the modern era. So yeah, there we go.
That's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. I'd like to say thank you to Laura and everybody at UAD for hooking me up with this kit and organising everything in advance. They've been really helpful throughout the whole process. I also noticed they're having a little bank holiday sale at the moment on their website, 25 quid off, which is a nice little bonus, and I've put a link down in the description for you guys to check out. So thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!